Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now we are just about to see a weekly candle close to confirm this massive Bitcoin breakout, while Ethereum is now flashing a new signal in the short term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that later in the video. Definitely watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a quick update here on the weekly Bitcoin charts, because in just a few hours from now, we are about to see a weekly candle close, which can confirm the breakout above this massive descending line of resistance. And not only do we have this giant 2-year line of resistance in the price, we also have a descending line of resistance here in the weekly Bitcoin RSI, where obviously the RSI is now breaking to the upside above that line of resistance. And so obviously anytime where we break out above resistance, this is a bullish signal, but because we're on the weekly time frame, once again, we need to confirm this breakout with at least a weekly candle close, which once again happens in a few hours from now. So at least for now, it's looking like the price of Bitcoin is about to confirm the breakout here on the weekly time frame. And now obviously there's other levels of resistance, which I'll talk about in just a moment on the daily time frame. But if we break out above those levels, which basically means if we break out above around 32,000, as I also said in my last video on the channel, if we break 32k, we're likely going to head up towards around 36 to 38k. Because if you simply take a look at this massive area of support that we saw back in Q1 of 2022, obviously that was a giant area of support in between around 36 to 38k approximately. And as we all know, if we break below support, that often becomes new resistance. And on top of that, if you take a look at the Fibonacci retracement tool from all-time high down to the bear market low on the linear settings, we have the 38.2% Fibonacci level of resistance sitting at almost exactly $36,000 per Bitcoin. And so once again, if we actually break free of these local highs, break out above 32k with confirmation, then we're likely going to head up towards around 36k next, because that is the next significant level of resistance here on the larger time frames. But as I just said earlier, and as I also said in my last video on the channel, obviously we still have areas of resistance on the daily chart that we need to pay attention to in between right now and that 36k price target. First of all, we have this area of resistance based on previous price action sitting in between around 30,500 to 31,500 approximately. And if you're looking at the volume profile indicator also on the daily Bitcoin chart, as I've also talked about over the last few days, we have this important area of resistance sitting in between around 30.2k to 30.4k, which is really the final area of resistance in the volume profile indicator. And obviously over the last couple of days, we have actually seen some perfect rejections from this exact area of resistance that I've been talking about. But even if we do see a confirmed breakout above 30.4k, above this resistance in the volume profile indicator, once again, we still have this resistance on this daily Bitcoin chart going up towards around 31,500, or more specifically, if you're looking at this wick high, it's closer towards around 32,000. So obviously just above where the price of Bitcoin is trading at right now, we do actually have a decent amount of resistance we need to surpass before looking towards 36,000. And as I also said in my last video on the channel, considering the fact that we have a decent amount of resistance that the price is running into right now, combined with the fact that the daily Bitcoin RSI is currently overbought, this basically tells us that we're likely going to see some sort of pause or setback from all of this bullish price action before potentially seeing a breakout later on. And what I mean by a pause or setback is either a sideways consolidation, possibly in between this area of support and this resistance in the volume profile indicator. First of all, this area of support is sitting in between around 29.1k to 29.4k. And once again, that area of resistance is sitting in between around 30.2k to 30.4k. And as I was saying, we're likely going to see either a sideways consolidation around this range or potentially a little bit more of a pullback, because basically we need to reset the daily Bitcoin RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which can actually give us more room to the upside later on. Because otherwise, if we do not see that, at least for now, while the RSI is overbought, this is telling us we have limited room to the upside, because the price has basically gone too far to the upside too quickly, and we are now overheated, needing some time to cool off. But as I also explained in my last video on the channel, this potential short-term cool cool off could just be a temporary pause from all of the bullish price action before seeing more bullish price action later on. Because if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, as of right now, this is still showing a bullish momentum in terms of the trend and momentum. We're still looking more bullish than bearish here on the daily time frame. And as for short-term support, looking at the 6-hour Bitcoin chart at the Fibonacci retracement tool, we have the 23.6% Fibonacci level of support sitting at around 28.9k approximately. But if we end up seeing a confirmed break below that level of support, then in that case, the next support is sitting at around 28.1k to 28.2k. And below that level, we have some more support down towards around 27.5k, and the golden pocket sitting in between around 26.7k to 26.9k. And obviously, in terms of the shorter term trend and momentum, we're clearly looking once again more bullish than bearish, but even during more of a bullish trend, we can experience small setbacks from time to time. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the 3-day ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the price of ETH is still forming this giant falling wedge pattern. And as of right now, this line of support is sitting at approximately 1520, and this line of resistance is still sitting close to 1.7k. And basically, if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above that resistance, so above around 1.7k, then in that case, that would set up a technical price target to the upside sitting at around 2.1k. And so if you measure out that move from the point of the break to that price target, that is more than a 20% move to the upside. But once again, it is important to understand that this bullish price target and this overall pattern altogether only comes into play. It only activates if we first see a confirmed breakout above this resistance, which obviously as of right now has not yet happened. And speaking of resistance, taking a look at the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and right now as of recording this video, the price of ETH is testing this important area of resistance. And in case you're new to this channel, this area of resistance is based on important previous support now acting as new resistance, and also the volume profile indicator showing a lot of traded volume and a lot of selling pressure around this price range, which by the way is sitting in between around 1620 to 1660. So basically for the bulls out there, we need to see a confirmed breakout back above 1660, ideally with daily candle closes back above that level in order to start flipping more bullish again on the daily time frame. Because if we see that happen, if we see a confirmed breakout back above 1660, then we're likely going to see the price of ETH return back up towards these highs right here, sitting closer towards around 1730 to 1750 approximately. And as for the daily Ethereum price oscillators, right now both of these price oscillators are looking more bullish than bearish, because recently we have seen a bullish cross confirm in the MACD, as I also talked about in my last video. And as I've been saying for the last 1.5 weeks, we technically have an active bullish divergence here in the price of ETH. Of course, we have lower lows confirmed in the daily candle closes while confirming higher lows in the daily RSI. And so once again, as I've been saying since all the way back down here around 1.5 weeks ago, this means we're due to see either a bullish relief or at the very least some choppy sideways price action, basically a pause to all of this bearish price action. But obviously right now we just need to pay attention to this area of resistance where of course it is possible we could see a rejection from until we finally confirm a breakout above 1660, because at that point once again we can finally start flipping much more bullish again in the price. And if you're zooming into the shorter term, as for short-term support and resistance on the 6-hour time frame, we have a decent amount of resistance in the short term in between around 1660 to 1670 based on previous resistance back here, and also the golden pocket area of resistance here on the 6-hour time frame. And now if we do end up seeing a confirmed breakout back above around 1660 to 1670, then in that case we could also find a bit of short-term resistance at around 1.7k, but the more significant level of resistance above around 1660 and 1670 would simply be these highs right here, sitting closer towards around 1740 give or take. And as for short-term support, we could find some support at around 1.6k, but if we see a confirmed break back below 1.6k, then in that case the next support is sitting at around 1570 approximately, and below that we should also find some support at these previous lows at around 1520 to 1530. And something also worth pointing out here on the 6-hour time frame is the fact that the 6-hour Ethereum RSI has just recently slightly entered into overbought territories. And as you can see here on the chart, over the last couple of months, the 6-hour Ethereum RSI has been very optimized to actually point out these local lows and local highs in the price. For example, if we're going all the way back here to the end of August, the 6-hour Ethereum RSI entered into overbought territories right at this local high after we saw a pump to the upside and just before a pullback in the price. And then if you're looking during around the middle of September, we saw the 6-hour Ethereum RSI enter into oversold territories right at this exact local low just before a pump back to the upside. And if you're looking towards the end of September, we also saw the 6-hour Ethereum RSI enter into oversold territories again right at this exact local low, once again after a pullback and just before a pump back to the upside. And then if you're looking at the 6-hour Ethereum RSI again during the 1st of October, we saw this enter into overbought territories right after a pump to the upside and just before a pullback further to the downside. And that pullback brought the RSI on the 6-hour time frame right into oversold territories, which occurred right around this local low just before a recovery in the price. And now obviously, just because we have seen multiple accurate signals here in the 6-hour Ethereum RSI over the last couple of months, this does not 100% guarantee that this is a local high and we're going to see much more bearish price action. But at the very least, it does mean that at least in the short term, we have limited room to the upside. It's possible we could perhaps head up towards the golden pocket, but it will be very difficult for the price to break out straight above that resistance with confirmation when the RSI is already very close to overbought territories here on the 6-hour time frame. So one of the most likely outcomes, one of the most likely scenarios in the short term, talking about the next 1 to 2 days, is either a sideways consolidation and then a breakout, or a possible short-term pullback before a bit more of a recovery later on. But either way, whether the price is bullish, bearish, or simply chopping around sideways, you can still make a lot of money in crypto by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.